Most people believe banks exist to help them build wealth. That's what we're taught growing up. Open a bank account. Save your money, work hard, and eventually you'll become financially secure. Sounds simple, but the older I got, the more I realized something uncomfortable. Banks don't actually make the most money when you become financially free. They make the most money when you stay financially dependent. And once you notice how the system works, you can't unsee it. Think about it. If you were completely debt-free, financially educated, invested your money wisely, avoided unnecessary loans, paid off credit cards on time, and stopped living paycheck to paycheck, how much money would the bank really make from you? Probably not much. Banks are businesses, extremely powerful businesses, and like every business, their goal is profit. That doesn't automatically make them evil. But it does mean their interests are not always aligned with yours. Your goal is financial freedom. Their goal is keeping money moving through their system in ways that generate profit. That's why modern banking quietly rewards debt more than discipline. The average person is introduced to debt before they fully understand money. Credit cards are marketed as freedom. Car loans are normalized. Financing is available for almost everything now. Phones, furniture, vacations, even food in some cases. Everywhere you look, the system encourages one thing: spend now, worry later. And most people fall into the trap because it feels normal. You buy something small on credit, then another thing, then monthly payments slowly become part of your life. Eventually, your income no longer belongs fully to you. Pieces of every paycheck are already claimed before you even receive it. That's not financial freedom. That's financial dependence disguised as convenience. What's scary is how early this conditioning starts. Schools spend years teaching students subjects they may never use. Yet almost nobody graduates understanding interest rates, investing, taxes, inflation, or how debt quietly controls people's lives. And honestly, I don't think that's accidental. Because a financially educated population is much harder to profit from. If everyone understood compound interest deeply, people would invest earlier instead of endlessly consuming. If everyone understood how dangerous lifestyle inflation is, fewer people would constantly upgrade their lives every time their income increased. If everyone truly understood how credit card interest works, many people would stop carrying balances completely. But instead, society normalizes financial stress. Living paycheck to paycheck has become common. Debt has become common. Financing everything has become common. And when something becomes normal, people stop questioning it. I remember the moment I started seeing this differently. I looked around and realized most people work incredibly hard, yet somehow stay stuck financially for years. Not because they're lazy. Not because they're unintelligent, but because the system constantly pushes spending over ownership. Advertisements tell you happiness is always one purchase away. Social media tells you success means looking rich. Banks tell you debt is manageable. And companies profit from keeping you chasing a lifestyle you can barely afford. The truth is, banks love predictable borrowers. They love people who stay in cycles of payments for years. Mortgages lasting decades. Credit card debt collecting interest every month. Car loans stretching across half a decade. The longer you stay financially tied down, the more profitable you become. Again, this doesn't mean every bank employee is secretly plotting against people. It's not that dramatic. The system simply rewards behavior that benefits institutions more than individuals. And one of the biggest traps is how safe banks make everything feel. You deposit your money and feel responsible. But most people don't realize inflation quietly reduces the value of idle cash over time. Your money may technically grow in a savings account, but often not fast enough to outpace rising costs of living. Meanwhile, banks take deposits and use money strategically to generate far larger returns. That's why financially wealthy people often think differently about money than average people do. Average people focus mostly on earning and spending. Wealthy people focus on ownership, investing, assets, and long-term growth. And nobody explains this clearly when you're young. Instead, many people spend their 20s and 30s trapped in cycles of consumption. Work harder, spend more, upgrade lifestyle, repeat. Every raise creates bigger expenses instead of bigger investments. And because everyone around them lives the same way, it feels normal. That's the dangerous part about modern financial culture. You can be surrounded by financially unhealthy behavior for years without realizing it. I used to think making more money would solve everything. But eventually I realized income alone changes nothing if your habits stay broken. Someone earning a high salary can still be financially trapped if they spend everything they make. Real wealth is not about looking rich. Real wealth is control. Control over your time. Control over your decisions. Control over your stress. And the system often distracts people from that truth because financially independent people are harder to profit from. A person with no debt, strong savings, investments, and financial discipline becomes much less dependent on banks, lenders, and endless monthly payments. That's why one of the most powerful things you can do is become financially educated. Learn how money actually works. Learn how interest works both for and against you. Learn the difference between assets and liabilities. Learn how investing works. Learn why delayed gratification matters. Because once you understand the game, you stop playing it emotionally. You stop buying things just to impress people. You stop financing things you can't truly afford. You stop confusing consumption with success. And honestly, one of the biggest mindset changes for me was realizing that freedom matters more than appearances. A luxury car means nothing if debt controls your life. Designer clothes mean nothing if you're financially anxious every month. Looking rich and being financially secure are completely different things. The system wants people chasing appearances because appearances are profitable. Financial discipline usually isn't flashy. Building wealth is often quiet, slow, and honestly kind of boring at times. But long-term stability creates something far more valuable than temporary status. Peace. The ability to survive emergencies without panic. The ability to walk away from toxic situations. The ability to make decisions based on opportunity instead of desperation. Most people never experience that because they stay trapped chasing short-term pleasure while sacrificing long-term freedom. And I understand why. The pressure is everywhere. Society constantly tells you to spend, upgrade, consume, show success publicly. Very few people encourage patience, discipline, and delayed gratification because those things don't create billion-dollar industries. At the end of the day, your bank doesn't wake up hoping you become financially free. The system makes more money when people stay dependent, stressed, and constantly borrowing. That's why financial education matters so much. Because once you truly understand money, you stop becoming easy to control. And that might be the most dangerous thing to the system of all.